What's going on, guys? It's Jeremy with Jeremy Lou Photography. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I am getting ready to shoot I'm calling it the first wedding of 2019, but I've actually shot one already a few months ago. But we're coming into March and we're gonna start shooting some weddings. I'm very excited to have snagged the new, I don't know how new it is, but the SONY a7 III. In fact, I have two of these. The camera that you're looking at right now is actually my backup or my second camera that I just got. And I had to adjust everything on the settings of the menu in order to match the other camera so that I can theoretically pick up either one and rock what I need to rock. So if you guys are searching for this video and you found this video, then you are just like me and you have just converted from your Canon or Nikon to Sony, and you are mind boggled at the amount of information that is in the freaking settings of this Sony camera. I watched a ton of YouTube videos, I read the manual, I went through everything. I couldn't figure out what half of the stuff was, and I figured it out. So welcome to the video, and we are going to show you the setup that I use, the settings that I use as a professional portrait, wedding, and commercial photographer right now. What's going on, guys? So I am just going to go through this as quickly as I can. I don't want this to be a crazy long video, but if you guys do have questions, please comment below. If I miss anything, go over anything, or you're confused about something, comment and I will get back to you ASAP. If you guys are new to the channel, please consider subscribing. If this video helps you in any way, give it a thumbs up and then click that bell for notifications. It tells you every time I come on. You're not going to see my face at all on this, and that's cool with me today. So let's do this, guys. So at this point, you've already turned on your camera. You've already set your zones. You've already set the time for your camera. If you have multiple cameras, try to set it up at the exact same time so that when you upload, and we're just going to start from beginning to end. We are going to skip a lot of video stuff. If you get to a screen that you want to remember and check out, feel free to just pause the video and mimic everything that I'm doing, but let's just get started right now. So I have the Sony a7 III. I have a Sigma 14 right here, and I have the lens on because some of the options aren't available unless you have lenses on. And then also, I don't have a memory card in here right now, so I don't know if I'll have to put a memory card in a little bit, so you might see me freak out and figure out why it's not happening. So, all right, let's do this. So guys, file format, I have it on RAW and JPEG at the same time. The reason I do this is I always shoot full RAW, and I actually have to use JPEG for certain apps and things that I need to do. If I'm shooting for a commercial event or a commercial client and they need me to put over images that day so that they can go through their proofing system, then I don't mind doing that. But in order for me to do that, I actually have my JPEG set very, very small, but I do have it at extra fine, so 6 megabytes, and you can go up to 24 if you'd like. Since I don't use it that much, I just leave it at 6. I shoot my raw type compressed. This is one of the things I had to learn, compressed and uncompressed. I do compressed. There's no need for me to go uncompressed. I don't need the giant image, and I haven't noticed any quality change at all. So I shoot compressed. Extra fine, we talked about that. Aspect ratio, I left it at how it was at 3:2, and then I didn't adjust the APS. I didn't touch that at all, so I don't think you need to. So moving to 1:2 here, long exposure, on, high ISO, normal, and color space, sRGB. Lens compensation, I did not touch at all. I know, this is fun, right? Scenes, so you guys will see, this is a mode that, I mean, the drive mode's in here, but I actually use my special buttons for these. We'll go into special buttons too. These are C1, C2, C3, C4. And all those are special buttons. I didn't adjust anything on here. You just move along. Oh, select media, slot 1 always. That just means that anytime you review or view anything, it's going to pick from that card. So slot 1's at the bottom, slot 2 is on the top. I just remember that slot 1 is like my safety. It's like everything goes there. That's why I'm rocking out right away. So when I upload and everything, I try to upload from slot 1. That's where my faster card goes as well. Nothing there on 4. On 5, focus mode, we're going to adjust later on. So that's something that you do on your special keys. But priority here in autofocus in single shot, that means that when you're in single shot and you're on autofocus, what is a priority? What do you want it to do before it takes a picture? Mine is autofocus, which I want the autofocus to work, but you can have the autofocus work on release or balance emphasis, which is get the best of both worlds. Whatever happens, happens. Guys, all that means, sorry, I was a little confusing. All that means is like, say you're shooting dancing photos and your camera's searching for focus. You want it to shoot when you get it a certain point. So do you want it to shoot like anytime you press that shutter button, or do you want it to shoot when it actually has focus? And that's all that means. So my continuous focus is what I find myself using a lot more with this Sony, which I never did with my Canon because it's so freaking good. The autofocus single shooting status is kind of crappy on this. It's really, it takes forever to focus on single mode. Continuous mode though is amazingly well, and I find that the opposite of Canon, and I actually like it better. I have it on balance emphasis. Basically, I use this so as soon as it thinks it has focus on what I want, it's going to take the picture. It's not going to take an extra half a second to think about it. So memorize those settings. Those are something you can adjust later. If you notice that you're shooting dancing on the dance floor and it's blurry every single time, it's time to adjust to the autofocus rather than release. Release is when you push that button. It'll just go every single time, even if it doesn't really have focus at that point. We'll adjust this later, but I love flexible spot. Focus settings, I don't play with that at all. I don't even know why I clicked that. The autofocus illuminator is a little light that's in the front here that will pop out a red light for you guys when you, I think all the time, or when it's dark outside. Although this is cool and it'll find the focus, it's annoying, especially at weddings, for that little dot to show up on your client. Then people will know that you're about to shoot them and focus them, especially if you're going candid. There's a red light that'll hit them. I leave that off. You should always leave that off. Center lock autofocus off or on. This is something actually I've set up on my smart tools as well. Set face priority in autofocus. I have that on face priority and autofocus on. Face detect, frame display off. You can just copy those, but basically I want it to find the face. That's kind of my goal of everything I shoot with. I always focus on the eye, I always focus on the face. So I want them to always focus on the face. Autofocus tracks sensitivity, which why don't they just write the word sensitivity? I leave it on 3 standard. I actually had it on 5 responsive for a while, but I haven't noticed any change, so 3 is fine. Autofocus with shutter on. That is, I believe your shutter button, holding it halfway down, it will autofocus as well, kind of like standard, and it's just a go-to for me, even though I do back button autofocus with this baby right here. Pre-autofocus off, what that means is it will always be autofocusing as long as the camera's on. So even if you have a camera on your hip or on your shoulder on a strap, it's always focusing, and you don't really need that. It kills the battery, so I focus when I push my shutter halfway down, right? Or back button focus. I have the autofocus area registration off. Everything's pretty much, on. Display continuous autofocus area. This is just for, while it's autofocusing, it's just going to show you that it's autofocusing, and I think it's the light that keeps pushing on. If I mess up on any of these, I'm sorry. I had to learn it ASAP, and they really don't help in these menus as well. Nope, nothing here. This is for your dial right here. There's no reason why you should be, I have an auto ISO. Oh, it only works on auto ISO. But basically, any auto mode, you do have the dial up here that will adjust your compensation. So if you're shooting on auto or AV mode or TV mode or whatever, you can adjust that here. There's no reason to actually adjust it on there. That'd be weird. ISO, same thing here. One of your buttons should be ISO. There's no reason to do it. Same thing with metering mode, and then face priority in multi metering mode is on. Again, I always want it to focus on the face. This is something you set up later. Easy peasy, guys. So, I mean, it's a lot of stuff. A lot of this stuff is like, you're going through it, you want to get the best out of it, but you don't really do it. Flash mode, I don't play with. I have it on, I think it was set to fill flash. I just don't adjust it at all. Flash compensation, I don't adjust that at all. I use, I put a little trigger on here, my Godox go off, and I adjust onto there. Wireless flash I have is on for now, but I had it on off for a while, and when I put a flash on there, nothing changed or nothing happened. So I actually don't know what that's for. I don't know if it's just to tell it. Your white balance, again, you can change it on camera. I leave it on daylight, and I adjust mine a little bit. So let me actually show you guys what I do. So basically you have your A, B, your GM, which is your gamma, your AB, and all that fun stuff. And I actually, so anything you go down, you can go to the right. When you go into your white balance, you just click down for any of these, and then you go to your right, and you can actually adjust these a little bit to color to taste. So if you guys like what you see on mine, that really is all I do. So for my AB, I go to A2. For my GM, I go to M2. And it adds a little bit of warmth, and it adds a little bit of red tones for how I actually edit. So this is affecting my RAWs as well. Let's see, priority, I leave that on standard. My creative style is vivid. And then again, I take my vivid and I have my contrast down 1, my saturation down 2, and my sharpness up 2. And this is actually how I edit. I do believe the creative style just goes onto your JPEGs only if you guys are using JPEGs, so you can actually see what it looks like on the back of your screen. But when you do upload it, especially if you're uploading the RAWs, it will not show these creative settings. So this is great if you're shooting just JPEGs and then you want to just send them off real quick using the Wi-Fi settings or something like that. But also it gives you a quick mode into how you're going to edit. So if you typically edit this way, low contrast, high sharpness, then this will actually show you guys what it's going to look like when you edit it. Off. Focus magnifier, I don't play with that at all. Focus magnifying time I put to no limit, and I believe this is when you are using a lens that when you go into manual mode and you actually go to focus, it'll actually zoom into the area that you focus. It's actually really, really cool. It'll zoom into where you want to focus and it'll just stay there. Some of the macro lenses I use, this 14mm, it doesn't do it. It only does it on certain lenses. So my 50, my 35, my 85, it all does it. But this way it shows you guys the exactly where your sharpest point is using manual, and then it goes back. So I have it at no limit until I stop moving it. Otherwise, it will do it for 2 seconds or 5 seconds. Then you have to do it again. Initial focus, so it goes multiplies by 5.9. So if I'm shooting 85, you multiply that by 5.9. That's where it hits as soon as I turn that little baby up here. On manual focus assist, I have it as on. Peaking settings, I think the only thing I changed here was red. I want to see it red. It just looks a little bit better for my eye. Anti-flicker shoot off, face registration, which is kind of cool. You can actually register somebody's face with this camera. So if you have a bride and a groom, you can actually register the bride right when you get there, take a picture of her, register it. The camera will always focus on the bride's face. How cool is that, right? So you go to register, register all, shoot with fitting in the face frame, and it just does it for you. So you do it one time, and I think you don't have to do it again for the rest of the day. I think to turn it off, you just go into here and delete is how it works. But basically, anytime you're around the bride, it will focus on her face. Although I think this is cool, I think this is awesome, I think this is amazing, especially for those candid shooters. Sometimes I don't want to get the bride's face, and I don't want to have to worry about that. There is an update coming up for Sony coming up next month, which when this video comes out, the update will be out, that you guys will be able to I believe pick whatever eye you want in focus, an auto eye focus, and then hopefully pick some different faces to go into autofocus rather than whatever is the nearest. Register face priority on, so basically if you do that, then you register it on. Okay, that was all of just the first one. Okay, that was, oh my God, it was 10 minutes, guys. So it took me a long time to actually figure that out. Hopefully it helps you out. I don't do anything in movies, so I'm not going to go into movies. I'm not a videographer. Find a different video. I am so sorry. But as we go through this, we're going to get out of movies into, cool. So in number 2, oh God, number 2, set 4, silent shooting on or off. Again, I have a setting for here, but basically it will let you shoot with no click of the shutter at all, which is super cool. I left this on. Release without lens. That means that can I take a picture without the lens? I have that off. Do not let me take a picture with my lens on. That's kind of how that works. And then the other one is release without card. I have it disabled. Do not let me take a picture without card. So right now, you cannot operate without a card. Guys, please do that. There's no reason why you should be accidentally taking 100, 200 pictures and then like not realizing that you didn't have a card on. I mean, we're professional, we're rushing, I get it. but don't do that. So make sure those are both disabled. That's huge. Steady shot on, steady shot settings. I did not adjust this at all. Zebra setting, I have zebra display off, zebra level 70. I actually don't use this as much as I thought I would, but basically it shows you the highlights when you go into zebra setting. So while you're shooting, it'll actually kind of do a little zebra on the highlights that are too hot. My feet are falling asleep, so I had to turn sideways. Grid lines off, exposure set guide off. This will show at the bottom. There's already something built in. You don't need it. This is where you find your live view display. Setting effect on. This is great to know. I do have this in my little star thingy over here, my favorites. So basically that on or off will show you either a live version of what's going on, or it will, if you turn it off, then it will show you something you can look on the back of the screen that will make it visible. So say you're shooting at night, it will then adjust the screen, but when you take the picture, it'll be kind of like a traditional DSLR looking in the back of the camera, right? So that's all it is. I use it, and I have this on all the time. Unless I'm in studio, I have it off because it's usually a dark studio and I need to see what I'm shooting. I don't know if I changed the shoot only display, auto review off. Auto review off has been awesome for me. Guys, shooting with a mirrorless camera, you can see everything you're shooting while you're shooting it. There's no reason to have that 2-second review at the end. It will slow you down. It will confuse the crap out of you. And that's the biggest change I had to make from a DSLR to a mirrorless. Cool, custom keys, guys. This is huge. I spent a lot of time on custom keys and trying to figure out what I actually liked and didn't like about this setup. There are so many custom keys on this, and basically anything on here you guys can change and adjust to your liking. So if you are a Canon shooter, you can really make this almost feel like a Canon. But here's what I put everywhere so you guys can see. Hopefully this works for you. So you guys can actually save this if you'd like. Go and pause this and just mimic it. So my control wheel here is actually my ISO. Even though to the right is ISO as well, I can just take my thumb and move this back and forward to get my ISO. My custom button 1, which is the furthest right here, is actually my focus area, where I want my focus. My C2 is actually my focus mode, continuous single shooting. That's what that is. My C3 over here is my shot result preview. If I have my setting functions turned off, meaning that if I'm in a studio and I have it off so that I can see what I'm doing, I can actually quickly hit this button and it will show me setting on. So it'll show me what's dark, what's bright, what's whatever, what my camera is actually going to be shooting before it shoots. So that's really, really neat to know. And then custom function 4 right here, which is also your trash can, is touch operation select. So can I, my touchscreen on or off? I don't like the touchscreen. I just don't use it. My nose hits it, things happen, but sometimes I want to be able to use it for quick access to something, so I have this on or off. That's all it is. Second page, I have a center button on focus standard, and I don't know if that's normal or that's what it is. I actually never pushed that. Oh, sorry. This thing is focus standard, so this brings me back to the middle, so it kind of left, right, up, down, focus. My center button is APS or full frame. So basically, if I'm shooting a wedding and I want to get into APS mode and zoom in at a lower setting or whatever for your camera, rather than full frame, I can just hit this button right now. So if I have like a 135 on, I'll hit that button and it'll multiply it by my 1.6 and zoom in a little closer. You'll also notice that your frames that you're going to be taking, so your memory card will show how many, it'll actually go up, so you'll be able to take a lot more pictures. So sometimes, like a couple times I've actually had that hit and I didn't even know I had it hit, and then I'm like, oh my god, I can take like 6,000 pictures? Like, what's going on with that? And ultimately, that's not what I wanted. I did not adjust the left button. I did not adjust the right button. This is how it came standard. And the down button is your white balance. And I did not adjust that. I don't think I adjusted that. I can't remember. But drive mode, which is also the same as I had up here, or one of these as well. No, wait, maybe it's not. Drive mode is different. Focus area, focus mode. Sorry if I messed that up. Save this if you guys like. This is kind of the awesomeness, guys. So I have my AEL button, which is right here. I never use this button as AEL. I have this as eye autofocus. So when I push this button, no matter what the camera's doing, it'll focus on the nearest eye to me. I have this button right here as autofocus on. Same thing that it came with, and basically is when you hit this, your back button focusing, you can just click that shutter to take the picture. Focus hold button. I don't know what that is, what I did. I don't know. I don't know what that is. I can't think right now. But I have it on focus hold. I didn't change it. All right, so that's the custom keys, guys. And then this is custom keys for your video, and like I said, we don't do anything with it, but if you guys like, it just says follow customs for this is standard for the photos. Same thing here, I didn't adjust this at all. This is just what it comes with, all your review features right there. Function menu set, guys. So this right here is, if you go into here and you hit this function button, you have these that show up down at the bottom. This is while you're shooting, your camera's in here, you're holding your camera, you can quickly hit this function. It's the same thing as like the Q in Canon. So what that is it's a quick set. So it's another set of quick keys that you guys can do. Now, I will tell you, while I'm shooting, I actually forget that I have this, so I haven't used it as much, but I did kind of manipulate just a few things in there that maybe I wanted as custom keys that I didn't do. So this is what I have here, and you guys can definitely copy this or put it in any way yourself, but basically use this menu, guys, as a way to have quick access to things that you don't want to have to search in the menu while shooting. So a lot of these I have already on my custom function buttons, but drive mode, focus area, drive mode. Again, I have two drive modes on there because I adjusted one and didn't adjust the other. ISO, metering mode, like again, this is a lower function. I did want to make sure that silent shooting was there. So guys, while I'm shooting, if I'm shooting in a church or something and I need to go to silent, then I go into here and then this is silent shooting, click on that, now it's off. That's all that is. And then audio signals are the little focus click. That turns it on and off. So I have that also down here as well, that little thing. So I have it on because I want to hear that, but if you're shooting and it's dead quiet and you're like, oh God, I gotta turn that off, it's cool. Dial setup, this is where your shutter is and your aperture is. I actually switched that from what it was. So my shutter's in the front finger right here, and my aperture is on my back finger right here. Kind of how Canon did, although Canon had it here. This is now my shutter, aperture, ISO. So I'm constantly just here, and I think you guys should do that as well. Rotate normal, I didn't change that at all. You can go reverse, that'd be super weird. I don't know why you would do that, but if you want to do that, you can. I don't think I changed anything here at all. This is, again, where your audio signals can be if you want to see them. Okay. This is all your network stuff, guys. We're not really going to get into it, but know that you can send your images using Edge Imaging app, which is the old Play Memories app that they just came out with. You can send things directly to a computer, directly to your smartphone. You can do that, so I highly recommend taking a peek into that, but this is kind of where you find everything. We're not going to really dive into that here. Same with Wi-Fi settings, Bluetooth settings, it's all kind of there built for you. I did change some of my network settings to like JLP for Jeremy Lou Photography. The playback, I didn't adjust anything at all on this, but I do know that the cool thing with the rating set key is that you can adjust it. So there's a button, you can change one of these buttons. I think a lot of people do C3 into the rating. So basically, as they're looking through photos under the custom, when you're looking through the photos, you can hit this C3 1, 2, 5 times or whatever to rate a photo. So if you have a model there that needs to pick a few photos, you can do the rating. I never use that system, and that'll actually go into your metadata as well. But you can also select it so that every time they push that button just once, it'll either go 4 or 5, 2 or 3, or whatever. So you don't have to use all the buttons. I don't use that, but if you do use that, it's super handy for those that need to have photos selected immediately. so that when you get home, you just upload and edit. Nothing here, playback 2, we're not gonna do anything. Everything's standard and normal, so I didn't change that at all, which is good news for you. Same thing right here with 3, with the play in 3, nothing. Monitor brightness, I just moved it up +1 because I wanted a little bit brighter. Viewfinder, the same thing. I didn't adjust my Finder color temperature at all. Gamma display assist off. Volume settings, I just put it all the way to the max. I mean, I never review videos. I don't do videos. So delete, confirm, cancel first. We want it to confirm. We cancel or delete first. I have it on cancel. I don't know if I adjust that at all, but basically if I go to delete, I want it to give me the chance to cancel it before it actually does that. Display quality high. Why not? If I'm shooting with mirrorless and I have this amazing screen, I want it high. I don't want standard. Power save, I have it on 5 minutes so that it doesn't shut down me after 2 minutes. Although you can hit that shutter real quick to turn it back on, I just leave it on. The battery life has been amazing on this camera, so I'm not too concerned at all on it. Auto power off temperature, I have it on high. You can do higher standard. This just means that when the camera is getting too hot, say you're shooting in the sun, it will let it get hotter before it actually shuts off. So there's only been one instance with my Canon where I was shooting a wedding and it was blazing outside, and I was concerned about my camera, but I was still able to shoot. I've never really been in that situation, so I can't really tell the difference of it, but I have it on high. I just don't want it to turn off when I don't need it to turn off. I'd rather get the shots that I need and then freak out later and send it to my insurance, but that's just me. Cleaning mode, touch operation off or on, cool. Like I said, I have it here, so I don't have to worry about it. I don't play with the touch at all, but basically you can set where you want the touch panel to be, or you want just a pad only, and then the settings are where you want it. You can put it on just a corner of the screen, the whole screen, whatever. Don't touch that at all, because again, I don't use that. Don't touch this at all. Date time setup, this is where you're gonna adjust your, where you're from. This is what you should have done at the beginning. Copyright info, I did set the photographer as Jeremy Lou Photography. Copyright is Jeremy Lou Photography. And we want it to write onto your images, right? That's exactly what you want to do. Your format is right here. I don't have a card in there, so there's something to format. I do want a file, I want a series. My file numbering, which means that if I'm numbering my files 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I don't want it to, when I format a card and put a new card in, I don't want it to start again at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the goal is like, right now I have my set file name, which my images are going to start off with JL2 and then 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So say JL2 1 0001, 0002, 0003. I want it to keep going up until it runs out of numbers. That way, when I go to upload to Lightroom, it uploads by the file name. So you don't want to be uploading and then have the option on Lightroom where it says do not import duplicates, and all of a sudden you're not importing half your images because your computer says you already have it, and in reality it's a completely different image. So I have this camera set to JL2. My other camera is JL1. That also tells me that which camera that the image is coming from that I'm shooting. I have this, okay, so record media settings right now. I don't have any cards in it right now, and I think I might have to adjust this now looking at it. But basically, I want to adjust it. I want it to be both, oh, I still have it in there. I want it to shoot to both cards at the same time, so I want the exact same thing to happen on both cards. So slot 1, I want to my RAW and JPEGs to go in there just like normal. Slot 2, I want an exact duplicate. With this screen, it'll allow you to maybe just do RAWs on one, JPEGs on the other, maybe video on one and JPEGs on the other, or so forth. That's what this screen is. I shoot duplicate. That's the beauty of having 2 cards in my system. So I'm not going to, that's all I'm going to do. Auto switch media, which will switch from one to the other. Recording mode standard. I'm going to go simultaneously to both. And luckily I'm doing this because I actually did not have that set up on this, which is insane. So, but basically there's different options, right? So sort RAW JPEG, it'll say slot 1 for RAW, which is the bottom one, slot 2 for JPEG. I'm like, no, bro, why would I ever do that? Or backwards. Or you can go shots on 1, movies on 2. But we want simultaneous, what's this one? Oh, both. So both photos and videos. I don't do any video, so I'm going to focus on this. And so basically it shows that I'm going to be shooting images to both. If I happen to shoot a video, it is going to record to slot 1. That's all that it's showing. Cool. And I'm very happy that I did this right now. Folder name, standard form. Version, this is where you check it. I haven't updated this camera yet. There's an update coming soon, so I'm not going to update it. And boom. This screen is my favorite screen because you're able to take your favorites and put it all onto one screen. You guys can copy this, and we're almost done with the video. But this is kind of where I can go quickly to format my images, and all you have to do here is you go to add item, and then find the item and add it. Simple as that. So right now what we have is we have silent shooting, format, control with smartphone. I do send images to my smartphone for certain reasons. File format, do I want RAW and JPEG, RAW, whatever. Viewing setting on, so when I'm in the studio, I literally go to this and turn it off. Auto review off or on. Sometimes when I'm in the studio, I'll put it to 2 seconds so that I can see what I'm shooting because I shoot a lot slower. Send a smartphone function, and you can actually keep this going as well if there's certain things that you want to do. So say you didn't want to use the function, you don't like using these buttons, you can actually set it up for that, which is kind of annoying. You can delete items, delete pages. Guys, that is it. That is everything I got going on El Camera. That's what I have. Questions, comments below, let me know. I ran through that as fast as I can. My head is spinning from all the talking and 30 minutes of talking. I was hoping that it was gonna be like 10 minutes long. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. Have a great day. Bye.